This is a Little Empire podcast. Visit us at littleempirepodcast.com and on Instagram at Little Empire Podcasts.
You gonna play that dastardly intro again?
Ow! This movie's still fine. One of them dies, that goes screw. One of them's a hottie, his name is Jay. One of them looks like Johnny Depp, and his name is Johnny Depp.
Classic Maximum Joseph.
You forget that films are supposed to have a point.
Hello, and welcome along to the worst idea of all time, episode 25. My name is Guy Montgomery. I'm joined by a very special guest, Tim Batt. Hey, Tim.
Hello, Guy. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's honestly my pleasure. So if you guys don't know, this is a podcast I host every week where I watch and review the same movie. I do it with Tim. Always.
Yeah.
And
almost always.
Yeah, up until today, Tim would always do it with me. And then, on account of a bet that you foolishly lost,
yeah.
In hindsight, do you think that was where the mistake happened, to lose the bet?
No.
No. So, after he lost a bet, which I think would be fair to say at the time you found regrettable, no one likes losing a bet.
No one likes losing a bet when the stakes are so high.
Secretly had a side bet with higher stakes in which you'd bet on the other person winning the bet that you were a part of, which I think is called spot fixing or match fixing and is illegal in professional sports. Anyway, you lost the bet, you watched the movie by yourself.
Yes.
Ruminated on it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't ruminate. I just hit that record button and put my thoughts onto a microphone. That wasn't even part of the deal, but I just didn't want the watch to go to waste.
Yeah, no.
That was my main thing.
I respect that. I was surprised, but also after you'd laid it out, it made perfect sense, of course.
You haven't listened to it. You haven't heard it.
I will never listen to it.
You don't know what's on there.
That much I can promise you. Ruminating, just quickly, as a sidebar.
Yeah.
So you didn't ruminate, you just put your thoughts out there.
Correct.
To ruminate, would that be to suggest that you reflected and then shared thoughts?
Yeah. I think to ruminate onto something is to dwell on it and kind of swash it around your head a bit, to think on it.
You just came out, yeah, nice. That's a great way of doing it.
It is what it is. It's the way we've always done it.
That's right.
It's the way we've done it from episode 1, season 1.
Whereas if you hadn't have done that, you would have accidentally ruminated on it.
Yeah, and that would spoil the broth.
How do you feel about it?
About what exactly?
The
film, that episode, this podcast.
That episode. Or about,
the episode
about
I
having
just
watched
recorded?
it by yourself.
Here's what I think about it. I think that...
Are you saying you're better than me?
Yeah, I am. That is where I was going with this. You've really cut to the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter is I'm better than you.
This is what I was afraid of.
Yeah, I know. And that's what made it worth it in a lot of ways.
You are like an evil mastermind right now.
I'm playing 4D chess with a monkey.
I mean,
guess who the monkey is? It's Guy Montgomery.
When I talk to you about it, obviously there'll be a part of me which is like, Tim's got the rub on me. He's seen this movie once more. He knows more about it.
Mm-hmm.
I now feel like I have to deflect all my opinions to you. I feel like you have an understanding of the depth and subtext of the film, which I don't have access to. At the same time, I'm in no way committed to getting on your level.
Yeah.
Where I will actually, do anything to...
Doesn't that just speak volumes about how much you don't want to see the film at this point? That it perturbs you so much. Your competitive spirit has really been wronged and feels like it needs to do something to rectify the situation.
Yeah.
But that visceral hatred has been superseded by your want to not see the movie any more than is
I think the other thing
necessary.
contributing to it is when you were watching that movie, you literally were like, because I knew we were recording the podcast tonight, and I was like, can we do it at this time? And you said, nah, we need to do it a little bit later. I need to watch the movie beforehand. Yeah. And I had forgotten that was something that happened. So I laughed hysterically to myself.
Right.
And then filled that time with a game of softball, which also brought out my competitive spirit. And we were really in the driver's seat. Social softball. I haven't played social sports for a long time, namely because I'm hyper competitive and struggle with the social balancing act, which is tolerating
Noobs.
Not noobs. Like that's the beauty of social sports, but just like having to bury my desire to win against the fact that we're all doing this to have a good time.
Right.
And losing that, I think if I'd won, I would have had a different attitude where I would have felt fine.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did someone really let the team down?
I dropped a catch at one point.
Oh, did you?
I played a great game. I had I don't know the details. Suffice it to say, I got player of the match actually on our team.
Oh, well done, you.
I was a ring-in.
Good stuff.
But I did drop a catch. But no, the team was so comically poised to win. It was the 7th innings, and we were winning by 1 run. We had 2 outs. So literally all we need to do is get one person out. They didn't have anyone on the bases, and the game is ours. And through a series of comical errors and just missteps by our team, they scored like multiple runs in very quick succession on the back of errors from us rather than brilliance from them.
Oh boy!
And we lost, and it was upsetting, but also fine. But then to come here and then have you also in some other weird mental jiu-jitsu or judo way have beaten me.
Well, listen, I just think you need to adjust your perspective on this. It's interesting that you've interpreted it as I am somehow ahead of you. I mean, there is a very easy reckoning of the situation to suggest that I am behind you. You know, that you are the winner.
Undoubtedly, but because of the way my brain has framed things and the fact that we're talking about it now, I'm so deep inside the thought I can't reverse engineer my way back to triumph.
Are you going to watch it?
No, never.
Okay.
But just know that as it stands in this moment, I view you as a superior and will accordingly deflect to you for advice or feedback throughout the duration of the podcast. Just in terms of, I won't come in with hard opinions that I regard as certainties. You're playing on a different, you're on a different playing field from me.
Only just.
For as long as this podcast lasts.
Okay. And then
after that
and then in your head, we're back to normal.
Yeah.
Why does your brain not correctly reconcile the fact that I will perpetually be one ahead of you until you watch it one solo time?
I don't think it would be correct for my brain to maintain this feeling of inferiority moving forward. I think
right, those are two different things, aren't they?
No, to me,
you don't have to be. You don't have to be inferior. Also, just because I've watched one more than you. Just quickly, while with regards to the movie and all trivia and theories contained therein, I will deflect you as a superior. Everything. I think the verb you're looking for is defer.
I'll do both.
Okay.
I'll deflect.
Ironically, if you did defer to me, you would trust what I'm throwing out there.
If anyone comes in here demanding answers to questions I can't answer, I will deflect those questions to you.
Very good. They'll get pointed at you and you blast them off at a 45 degree angle. But
outside of the context of the movie We Are Your Friends, intellectually I still regard us as equals.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's very sweet of you.
Well, yeah. You're probably a little bit, I guess we have different applications of our smartness. I think you might be a little bit more about me across a wider spectrum of things.
Yeah, but that's not really intelligence.
No, if anything, you're wasting your time.
Exactly.
In the same way, yeah.
That inch wide, wrong way around. Inch deep, mile wide knowledge is really good for pub quizzes and nothing else.
I know, yeah, your classic, fuck all about everything, sort of. I know very little about anything, though.
Well, you know a lot about We Are Your Friends. You've seen it 25 times.
I would say I know probably the second most in the world.
No, I don't think that. Here's the weird thing. I didn't think this about grown-ups too, but I think there's editors, people who worked on the film who have seen it more than we have now. And I don't think anyone saw Grown-Ups 2 25 times, even in the editing suite. I feel like they got delivered their dailies, which was it was like 2 takes of everything and no bonus scenes. It was just exactly what needed to be there. There was a famous director who did that, and I can't remember who it was, but he famously kind of undershot and delivered.
Stanley Kubrick.
Was it Kubrick?
He would shoot only the exact amount of footage so that they couldn't fuck with his edit.
Yeah.
Grown-Ups too, I don't think that they were exercising the same, creative
discipline.
They were. Yeah. I feel like that was just they just turned in everything, and that was the extent of their interest or investment. Yeah, in the project.
It's kind of the same.
Different means to the same end.
What? No, in some ways it's the same methodology to a very different end. So when you have a masterpiece by virtue of your own restriction on your creativity and the discipline that you have to apply to yourself, and on the other, you really want to play basketball, so fuck shooting that afternoon and all your friends are around.
Yeah.
Those
and to be honest,
the two options.
the second one sounds way better.
Doesn't it?
Do you want to concentrate really hard on a hard thing, or do you want to, I don't know, just play basketball with Hall of Fame basketball player Shaquille O'Neal and your friends?
And before you answer, you will make $100 million either way. It doesn't matter what you pick, you're going to make $100 million.
Yeah, you want to make $100 million from struggling against yourself, arguably the most difficult challenge of all, or do you want to make $100 million for having as much fun as possible?
Yeah, when you put it like that. It's easy to see how there are more Sandlers than Kubricks in the world.
Isn't that just?
Where do you think that We Are Your Friends fits on that spectrum? From Stanley Kubrick to Adam Sandler,
It's certainly.
where is Maximum Joseph?
Maximum Joseph is present day Sandler against Kubrick's oeuvre.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
he skews Kubrick, just because.
There's sort of another axis, isn't there, that
Yeah.
we need for this graph?
And this comes back to the central point of difference with We Are Your Friends to either Sex and City 2 or Grown Ups 2, is that those films were flashy and very lazy and careless and cynical, I think it would be fair to say. Like, you know, Adam Sandler and his friends had a lot of fun making their money, but it's like, to your fan base, it's a pretty, it's not a very considerate way of going about the movie making process.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like different in that it doesn't display any of those things. It's just an earnest attempt at filmmaking, which hasn't come off perfectly. And accordingly, that would mean Maximum Joseph is more along the lines of having creating a maximum level art project rather than having maximum level fun with his mates.
So, thus, more Kubrick than Sandler.
Probably like on the scale of Kubrick to Sandler, he's, I don't know, Sandler being 0, Kubrick being 100, he's 60.
And okay, so what we need is another axis. So it's like that's our x-axis, right?
Yeah.
We need a y-axis, which I feel like is Steven Spielberg is at one end of the spectrum and Tommy Wiseau is at the other.
Oh, nice, dude. Great job. You've really got a lot of room to place people in areas now.
Yeah. So within that 2D space, we've got, if you think of, this is a lot to mentally mind map if you're out for a run or just listening to this podcast casually. I want you to stop doing that. I want you to listen hard and figure this out in your head, how this map looks, this graph. I want you to visually put this in your mind's eye.
What, do you want...
Along the x-axis, Maximum Joseph is 0, Stanley Kubrick is 100. Upon the y-axis, that is the vertical line on a graph, Tommy Wiseau is 0 and 100 is Steven Spielberg. Now, Maximum Joseph is positioned at 75 on the X, yeah, and 30% on the Y.
So 70% towards Kubrick
On the right, yeah,
and
only 30% up
towards Spielberg.
You got it.
But that means does he still skew more Spielberg than Wiseau?
No, he skews more Wiseau than Spielberg. He's only at 30%. If he was at over 50%, he'd be more towards Steven Spielberg.
So he's 70 Wiseau.
Sorry? Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, you got it.
Dude. Yeah, absolutely.
70% Wiseau.
Which is what makes it interesting. Is it's earnest, but it's misguided occasionally. Where I think they made a huge misstep, and we talked about this today, Tim, is if they could have got a full boner Zac Efron scene,
Yeah.
I think things would have come out very different.
Yeah. Once you have an acclaimed star of whatever realm which Zac Efron clearly is.
Massive star.
Celebrated star. Once he gets his erect penis out, that is an art film. You can't deny the authenticity of it. You cannot deny its art.
The beauty of it, it's almost irony, is that the nickname for Zac Efron's erect penis is box office gold. So it is only through using box office gold that you can access maximum art. And it's this is why it would have just been such a fantastic layout of the movie. It really would have. It would have, first of all, bums on seats. Second of
big
all,
time.
People are watching the hell out of that movie.
Yeah.
They are combing every detail.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got Zac Efron to get his boner out once, who knows how many secret frames you've buried or references to the boner you've got throughout the rest of the film.
Yeah, you go on Fight Club on it. You just
That's
put
right.
them in there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if
That's the film you would make?
I'm just thinking that's the film this week, in reaction to what I've seen. That's the thing that might have been a difference maker.
A difference maker. It's like The Decision Maker, but an external pressure on them.
The decision maker.
The decision maker. The president. I think George W. Bush called himself
the decider.
Yeah. But he said it in a real weird, funny way. I can't remember what it was. The chief decider, I think he called himself.
It's great. It's a great Peep Show joke where Jez, Robert Webb's character, keeps talking about calling up the ombudsman. Like, it's like the looming threat of this higher intellectual plane that could decide things. Hey Tim.
Yo.
What about the movie this week did you, on the second viewing, the viewing we just shared, what jumped out at you? Did anything grab you? I'm not looking for a shining light. I'm just looking for stray observations.
Just Paige is a really good actor. Or the actor playing Paige, rather.
It's tricky, yeah. Once you notice that, all that can happen when he's on screen really is it just solidifies your opinion of his acting. It, yeah. When you separate the actor from the character, you lose the possibility of the character. You know, like when those watches happen, it's very difficult to imagine Paige doing anything because you're just so pleased for the guy playing Paige that you're like, fuck, you are turning it in, son. So he's almost a victim of too good of acting.
Yeah. Well, I had heard that from someone who makes television, that if there's a scene that's so good, or a shot that's so good that it really stands out, you got to get rid of it. Because you can't have something that's kind of outshining the rest of the product. And I feel like maybe Paige is that thing that should have been cut out of the movie entirely, because he's kind of showing up the rest of the picture.
That's wild, eh? It's so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
This is too good.
Well, look, I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
It's what I get told a lot of things. You know? I get told rabbits are just big, calm rats.
Who told
Doesn't
you
make
that?
it true. Some kid. I was a kid too.
At the time?
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, if you're still...
They're different animals.
Yeah.
You need only look at them.
You're still
They're
going to the
completely different species.
well of information traded as a child, as an adult, though. You've got to accept partial responsibility for that.
Oh, yeah, but look, adults say a lot of crazy shit too.
That's right. And it's more cynical because adults say stuff which isn't true, but it's not as obvious. It's in subtle ways what's being said isn't true.
It's nuanced.
Yeah.
Tricky more than anything.
If you're going to lie, at least make it entertaining. So when it's found out you're lying,
Yeah.
the person's like, well, to your credit, that is so outlandish.
You said something outlandish out loud.
Yeah. Which is what usually happens with big bold-faced lies. You go, that's so outlandish. I almost respect you for it.
That is the best thing about hanging out with kids, though. The brazen fallacies that you're faced with. A 6-year-old announcing to you in no uncertain terms, there indeed is a dragon in the bathroom, which is why I will not go there.
It's so good. I often think I try and apply elements of that childlike sort of flexibility with hard fact to my life as an adult, that only now as I say this out loud does it occur to me that might be perceived as problematic.
That you're tapping into your childlike nature. Why would that be problematic?
Because The adult reading of that is I'm just lying to people.
Oh, I see. So in your head, you're doing something funny and whimsical, and in their head, you're just, why is this almost 30-year-old just making shit up
Yeah.
to me, to my face?
Yeah. Or if they don't, like...
How do you feel about being described as an almost 30-year-old guy?
Fine.
It was the label I just threw at you,
Yeah.
like some sort of
It's my hot new label.
cartoon bomb.
It's the name of my forthcoming rom-com, Almost 30. Promises to be a very unique and original production.
Sounds terrible.
Damn it, I lost my train of thought.
Well, then it's probably a good point to break for a short moment as we talk about our sponsor, who I won't reveal, but it's the same as last time.
Wow. You're going to have to do a deep dive into the pits of the worst idea of all time to figure out who is providing us money to shill for their wares. That sentence doesn't work.
And we're back on the worst idea of all time. Hello, caller.
Hi, just calling up from TWIOAT. Yeah, really interested in what you guys are saying about Paige and his acting.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of acting myself, actually.
Have you really?
Yeah, I'm a big part of the community theatre down here.
Oh, I see.
And I'm just calling up to see if you think Paige would have... I actually submitted a videotape to the director, Max Joseph.
I see.
Do you think Paige would have gained or lost anything if played by a New Zealand actor?
Thank you, caller. We've had to let you go, but I will answer the question in your absence where you can't respond to it. A lot would have been lost in this film if the piercing, disgusting New Zealand accent was recorded on film alongside this cast of a galaxy of stars. Crisp American voices is all I want to hear. If you give me the nasally, flat-voweled nonsense of the Antipodes, I will spit in your face. Thank you for calling. Oh, he's still there.
Yeah.
I haven't pushed the button correctly. That's embarrassing for me.
That is, yeah, really good feedback. I've actually been working on my American accent, and seeing as I'm still on the line, was wondering if I could do a monologue for you.
I would love to hear it.
This is the character of Paige from We Are Your Friends. In my life, I do not believe in anything that is not concrete. All this digitized, computerized bullshit. You cannot listen to the banks. You cannot listen to the stock market, but real estate, gold, you fuck a diamond, well, that's gonna last you a lifetime. So, do you honestly think if you'd broadcast that in the movie,
Yeah.
all that stuff you said,
Yeah, I'm still here.
well, first, I guess, how was that?
Look, it was terrible. I didn't like the delivery. I didn't like the choices you made. I didn't like the small flourishes of improvisation that you had clearly put on top of an already bad script. Wasn't aware it could be made worse, and yet here we all are. So once I thought I knew where the hang up button was. Apparently I don't. It would just make my day if you could figure out how to hang up on yourself and end this call. I would rather listen to the flat, piercing tone of a disengaged telephone line than a single syllable more than you've already spoken from your voice.
Well,
There it is.
my receiver's broken, so I can't actually end phone calls.
You're telling me that on my end, right here next to the audio desk, I can't find the button to hang up on you, and you are technologically incapable of hanging up on me, and thus we are trapped here for I guess as long as one of us lasts for. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly any happier about it than you are.
All right, well, look, while you're here, I mean, you're here anyway, tell us a story about your childhood. Where'd you grow up? Are you born in Te Awamutu, or did you move to Te Awamutu, or what?
I moved there.
Yep.
Yeah.
How old were you when you moved there?
Oh, 2.
2 years old?
Yeah.
Whereabouts were you born?
Oh, look, it's hard to say, really. When I say I moved there, I mean I sort of woke up there, and that's where I...
Sorry, I'll stop you there. When you say it's hard to say, is that because your voice is so terrible that even you can't listen to it?
I grew up in a small town without any vowels in its name. So
I see. Just a lot of consonants all in a row.
physically very hard to say.
Like how the Welsh do it, but
Yeah.
without the Welsh language.
Yeah, with New Zealand language.
What was the first letter
And what?
in the small town that doesn't have any vowels where you were born?
An X.
An X was the first letter. That's incredible. What was the second letter?
X.
Another X. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen 2 X's just smashed together like that, you know?
A lot of people hadn't.
No. Groundbreaking.
It's a huge part of the
What
reason.
was the third letter?
K.
An X and an X and a K. And then what were we dealing with for that fourth one?
JTR.
Really? In that order? Wow. Blows the mind.
Well, you have a crack at it.
Oh, look, I daren't.
That's
I don't
only
know how
the
to
first
approach
syllable.
it. I have no idea how to approach it. Do you pronounce it as a Z or an X like X-ray or like Xerox? You know? Really? Wouldn't even know how to navigate the approach on that one. But look, you've watched We Are Your Friends.
No.
You've never seen it?
Oh, just auditioned, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
How did it come out?
Here's the funny thing about it is I've actually watched it twice today, and I was expecting my co-host on this show, who's regularly here, Guy Montgomery, to do a bit of the heavy lifting around the segments, bearing in mind that I just recorded an episode completely by myself. But I guess that's not able to happen.
Where's Guy?
I don't know. He is left. He's not present. That's all I know. He's not in the room, as they say in show business. Yeah.
Well, that is tricky.
Isn't it?
Did you make that really super clear to him up front?
What's that? That I'd done an episode...
Or just that you were going to be relying on him to do a lot of heavy lifting?
I didn't think I needed to verbalise that. I thought we were at a point in our relationship
Sounds to
where
me
he could-
like that's where there was an opportunity for confusion to creep in.
Right, a lack of communication in your mind is what's happened there.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what my shining light was.
What's that?
So, what I hadn't noticed before is the
No,
sheer...
what's a shining light?
Oh, I beg your pardon. We do a show where we watch and review the same...
Oh, I know the show.
Okay, so...
Just don't know the segments.
The shining light is where we try to find something we genuinely enjoyed in that particular week's watch of the film. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff we don't enjoy, you see, because we've watched the film so many times before, and none of the 3 films we've been watching are very good films.
3 films?
Yeah, we're on to our 3rd one. We do one a year. Yeah. So my shining light this week is the sheer amount of Skrill stickers there are. I didn't fully appreciate on the first couple dozen watches, but they're on Zaccoli's headphones, which I'd seen before, but they're also located on his keyboard. There's a real message of Skrill about this film. It's foreshadowing. It's supposed to warn you to pay attention to Skrill. I feel like it's some sort of message that we can all take home that, you know, we take people in our life for granted. And sometimes there are elusive and sometimes not so elusive clues that we should be paying more attention to them.
Well, that isn't just about the most beautiful thing I've heard today. And I got married today.
Did you?
Yeah.
What are you doing ringing up whatever this is
Well, let's
on
just
your
say
wedding
the
day.
honeymoon's not going very well.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
No.
Where did you go to honeymoon?
Well, we went to the motel.
In Te Awamutu?
No.
Ngarawahia?
No.
The place that starts with X and then is followed by another X?
My hometown.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Do you just want to tell me whereabouts it is that you've
Well,
gone for your honeymoon?
I thought you'd never ask.
Oh, sorry. I should have led with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whereabouts are you?
Palmerston North.
Palmerston North. The Manawatu.
Bright lights. Big city. Anyway, by some strange turn of events, who should be in the foyer as my wife and I check in, but the actor who plays the character Paige from the movie We Are Your Friends.
I'm the man who bet you for the role.
The man who bit me for the role.
How'd that make you feel?
Pretty small.
Yeah.
Pretty small. Suffice it to say, he came up, congratulated us. We were still in, I was in my suit and she was in her dress.
Very nice.
She said, "Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
You look familiar. Have I seen you somewhere?" And he said, "I was in a reasonably popular movie called We Are Your Friends."
And The Accountant, arguably off the back of it as well. That was a big picture.
He didn't get into the particulars
People
of it.
forget about The Accountant. Big picture. Ben Affleck. Big picture.
I've never really cared for Ben Affleck.
Sorry, you were saying.
I digress.
There you are.
Well,
Wife by your side.
I don't know if you
confronted
can
with
hear
your
it,
rival.
but pretty much, they're doing something next door. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I see. I see what's happened here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So this is all happened today as well. Is this
Yeah.
going on right now? Is that where you left?
Certainly what it sounds like.
Okay. Unbelievable in many ways. But I applaud your courage for sharing your story with us, and I appreciate you joining us. And my only hope for you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, is you find a way to disconnect the phone call, because I don't want to talk to you anymore or ever again after this. And I really mean that.
Well,
I really mean
the
that.
day I've had, that's a real kick in the guts.
I can't express that in strong enough terms. I couldn't put it out loud too loudly.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah. All right. So, have you ever seen We Are Your Friends? You've never watched it? You've heard a lot about it. You've never seen it.
No.
If you had to guess at a favourite part based on what you've seen, what do you think you would guess your shining light would be?
Probably the part where one of the characters dies, because that's what I feel like doing.
Yep, Squirrel is his name.
Yeah.
You feel like you want to die.
Bang! Oh no! Sounds like he killed himself. Sorry, Tim. I was just getting coffees for the boys.
Guys, back in the room, and that cartoon character that doesn't exist
Anymore.
is
I
gone.
missed all of the context, but I'm glad you killed them off. They sound like a real drag.
Guy, what's your shining light for this week's
Thought you'd never
watch
ask.
of the film?
Zac Efron successfully has sex with Somali, which is problematic in that it's a betrayal of his good friend James Reed, but also a triumph for him in the sense that it's pretty obvious to all involved that that is something Zaccoli wants to do.
Yes.
And Somali obviously wants this as well. She's a little bit more conflicted with it because she lives with James. Zaccoli's sort of more engaging with it at a distance. Is like, I really like this person. I'm glad that this happened.
Yeah.
And they're in the car on the way home from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And Jarhead, as is his wont, is grading whoever it is that Zaccoli had sex with. Pretty much being like, look, for you to ditch all of us while we're in the middle of dealing a huge amount of drugs, like at great risk, but also financial benefit to us as a group, for you to just bail on us halfway through for the entire night, to have sex with anyone, this person better be unreasonably attractive.
I like that description. Unreasonably attractive.
Yeah, like it's an affront to your senses. It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
At this point, it doesn't even make any fucking sense.
exactly.
What are you doing with yourself?
At some point, you've gone too far.
Let's get you a terrible haircut.
And what happens is he says this, and he's like, and then he accuses Zac Efron, or Zaccoli, sorry, beyond that. He's like, I know that face, that's the in love girl face. And Zaccoli, in this moment, is like, what are you talking about? He does this sort of high pitched, playful, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm enjoying the attention
coy
I'm
denial.
getting. Yeah, but also just plays it perfectly. And I liked the line. I liked that I hadn't noticed it 24 times prior. I just generally, I thought it was a good moment of the movie, which is what a shining light has to be.
Getting sentimental with James Reed. With James Reed.
What a guy, what a feeling. James Reed from The Feelers bestows a gift upon his loyal subject. So the gentleman doth think. Zaccoli. The parameters of the gift are, it is contained within a box de Mac book, as the French would say. It is sentimental. It is self-serving. What could it be? I'm so glad you asked. A very, very small flax bush, fully formed, bonsai. The logic, of course.
You've thrown the word bonsai at the end, and it's thrown me. What does that mean?
As I understand it.
Because I thought a bonsai tree was a specific thing. Is bonsai the style? The trimming?
That is exactly the question I'd hoped you'd ask. A bonsai tree, as I understand it, that is a tree that has had its roots constantly clipped to maintain its miniature stature, right?
That is awful.
Yeah. If you think trees have feelings.
I actually read a very compelling column recently indicating that they did.
Written by a tree, because they've been peddling this propaganda for years. And frankly, the more stuff you read by trees, the more exhausting it becomes.
Well, that doesn't make it wrong, though. We've been reading on trees for so long. I feel like I should hear from trees also.
Yeah. You
talk about books, baby.
You kind of sound like a tree right now. You're kind of using the language of a tree.
Yeah.
This is the way they frame their situation.
Yeah.
And it's fair. I don't know the exact mechanics of how you create, like, of what a bonsai tree is. All I know is that these very small trees, which grow, to the shape of a full-grown version of itself. But
now, I don't even know if are flax bushes around the rest of the world, or is that quite a New Zealand thing?
I'd say they're reasonably common. The flax is quite a practical thing. You can use it to.
But does it grow everywhere? Is my question. I don't know if people are familiar with flax.
That's why I'm familiarizing themselves with flax.
Flax is a coarse, long leaf on it. Is what it is.
Yeah,
like a cabbage tree, like the leaves on a cabbage tree.
Similar, they're sort of, they're
kind of like a big blade of grass. If you think of what a blade of grass is, increase the size by about 15 and increase the hardness by 10.
And the waterproofness
by 100.
Yeah. That's not, hey, and if you're listening in your grass, I'm not calling you not waterproof. I'm just saying
you are 1% the waterproof of flax.
Is more waterproof. So I'm pretty certain that there's no such thing as bonsai flax, but somehow James Reed has spent a lot of time creating a very small, fully developed.
Now, before we go on, are we confident it's bonsai and not bonsai?
It's spelled with an S. How you pronounce it is user's choice. I'm sure that there is a language expert somewhere, hooting at me while rubbing their finger, a la the folks in Shelbyville when they see a performance about Springfield. That's your choice. What I'm trying to tell you, Tim, is he's spent a lot of his time and energy building this tiny flex bush, fully developed, but very small. He gives it to Zac Efron. It's a self-serving gift.
Yeah.
First of all, the logic is, if I give this to Zaccoli to maintain this gift, they're very time-consuming. Pretty much that means that the opportunity he has to whisk Somali away from me and cultivate a relationship is diminished.
Gotcha.
Second of all, I'm going to tell him that if he can make me a purse, just a small purse, I can get my cards and cash and some coins in, maybe a key, he's going to open for me at Summerfest.
That's a lot of C's.
Yeah. He's pretty much just creating a huge distraction. He doesn't know that Zaccoli and Somali have had sex yet.
Yeah.
But he's sensed a vibe and he's reacting against it. So he's using his professional status as leverage against, something that he knows Zaccoli wants but has to work towards. The thing he tells him he has to do to work towards it is very time-consuming, limiting his ability to focus on Somali and have them fall in love with one another.
Right. He's inserting all of the work and time that a bonsai tree will demand of him, and it's going to suck up his ability to work on the track or work on Somali.
Yeah, and moreover, the thing with giving him a full bonsai, they're not made to then be hacked up and turned into a smaller version of a regular thing. So he's expecting Zaccoli to build a relationship to this living organism that he will then have to betray by turning it into this purse. And so, that's a whole emotional Rubik's Cube that Zaccoli will have to solve, meaning that the amount of time and energy he has to spend on his human, his face-to-face relationships, not just with Somali, but with his boys, with Jarhead, Johnny Depp, Squirrel.
Yeah.
Everything's
It's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
This is like when they tell kids who grow up on a farm not to name the lambs, isn't it? Similar sort of thing.
Yeah, but he's expressly being like, he's not telling him to name the lamb, but he's watching him name the lamb.
Yeah.
While knowing that he has to kill the lamb.
Yeah.
It's very manipulative parenting. It's
brutal.
Or mentoring.
It's brutal. Well, that about does it for me. I can't imagine there's too much more to say about anything.
You're probably right, Tim.
Unless you've got any cause for worry, concern, or highlighting a potential moment where you feel the actors went off script.
Yeah, there's
the
one
film.
moment. I don't know that you could credit the actors with doing it, but it's the early nightclub scene. This is no but, by the way, for those of you keeping score at home. Nightclub scene, social, 500, bro.
Where's my 500, bro?
You got it. You know where we're at. Listener, you probably don't. That's cool too. But there's a scene where they give a shot of the dance floor to be like, hey, guess where it's popping off? The dance floor is social. And one of the women who is dancing has on her shoulder a full handbag. Like, not a clutch.
Your face. That was venom with which you spat that word out.
Maybe I've missed this or just never noticed it, but to me it was pandemonium. I was like, there's no way that was an order from on high that you do that. You wandered onto set either thinking you were at a genuine nightclub because you've been on the hammer for so long, or you were like, I need to stand out. This is my last roll of the dice as a professional actor. What is going to distinguish me from the other club-going extras in this scene? No one's carrying handbags on set. That's my shit. And somehow got it past the editors, past the directors, but it still made it into the movie. And it was a bold call. A lot of yes-anding of oneself.
How big is it? The handbag? Is it a large one?
Oh,
By
it's
handbag
deep.
standards?
It's like, it's certainly, it's borderline overnight handbag. It's not an
Right,
overnight
jeez.
bag, but
Yeah.
it's at the larger end of the handbag.
That's a fucking smart play, though, isn't it? Go to the club with an overnight bag. Imagine
Wow,
if a
yeah.
dude tried to pull that off. It'd be quite obvious, because I think a guy's overnight bag is, you can really see it.
Yeah, it'd be a backpack.
No, you can get a little kind of bathroom bag and stuff a shirt in there and some underwear and socks. Along with your mouthwash and t-shirt and, toothbrush.
Microfiber clothing. I don't think you need anything. I think if people start wearing only microfiber clothing, there'll be a lot less showers, a lot less time spent washing clothes. Just a lot of dryness, quick dryness.
Polished bodies. And on that wonderful vision of the potential future, I'm ready to stop talking about We Are Your Friends after the second time of watching it today.
You've been doing it a lot lately.
Ka kite anō. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for listening. We will continue to do this for another, I'd say 27 weeks. We're almost at the halfway point now.
Yeah, man.
And if you really want to get in on the fun, join the Facebook page, facebook.com/worst idea of all time.
Use the hashtag TWIOAT when discussing it on your social media channels. And we never say this, but rate and review us on iTunes.
How dare you?
Because we literally have no idea what that does.
Yeah, it is unfamiliar terrain. But people always say it, don't they?
Everyone
listen
else
to podcasts and they go, rate and review us on iTunes. And Guy and I, they're going, I wonder what the potential benefits of that are. I wonder what the outcome is.
I wonder if
We don't know.
Yeah. Could be like the Stonecutters.
Do you think we get admitted into a secret club?
I just think that we'd find out about more tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
Like shortcuts. But then also bigger tunnels, which aren't necessarily shortcuts. They're just real curious things.
Thanks for listening, everybody. This is Tim Batt saying good night.
This is Guy Montgomery saying, if you know any secret tunnels, please tell me.
This movie's still fine.
One of them dies, that goes screw. One of them's a hottie, his name is Jay. One of them looks like Johnny Depp, and his name is Johnny Depp.
Classic Maximum Joseph.
You forget that films are supposed to have a point.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. If you're thirsty for another, why not try Boners of the Heart?
Mate, that's literally the basis of magic. So you're not, magic is only.
But it's not magic. Like, I'm seeing how he's doing it in front of my eyes.
So a magician, would you be shocked by a magician?
Would I be what?
Would you be impressed by a magician?
I'm constantly impressed by magicians.
Okay, but
there's not a bit of me that doesn't think I could learn to do that. But I feel the same way about surgeons.
No,
I'm impressed by the fact that they've acquired the skill, that they've put the time towards it. But I was like, probably in another universe, I am a fucking neurosurgeon.
Oh my God. This speaks so much to who you are.